Hello and welcome to the Sewing Studio. I'm Anna and in this video I am going to show you the Janome Sewist 780 DC. I'm going to talk through all its features, show you what comes in the box, do some sewing and show you its capabilities, and then talk a bit about warranty and support. Now they're all split into chapters, so if there's just one particular section you're interested in, feel free to jump straight ahead to that. The Janome Sewist 780 DC is a computerised machine, therefore you can operate it with a start-stop button. It does come with a foot pedal as well, but you have the ability to control your speed. It's a standard size machine, so it has 6 inches of space to the right of the needle. It comes with 80 different stitch options, and you've got a direct simple press to your most commonly used ones, and then the rest are on these handy pull-out cards. And they're all numbered, and you can just change the numbers with these arrows on the LCD screen there. You have the ability to change the width and the length of the stitch, and the maximum stitch width on this machine is 7mm. You've got an automatic scissor cut, needle up, needle down, and you can program that for when you stop sewing for the needle to either stay in the work or come up, your choice. The locking stitch and your reverse. You've got your tension dial here to change those when needed, and you also have the ability to change the pressure on the presser foot, and there's 6 different levels available. It has a drop-in bobbin system and a quick set, so no need to draw up the bobbin thread. And you can drop the feed dogs for any free motion or darning work. It also has a built-in needle threader. It's got a free arm, so you just pop off the accessory tray, and there's your free arm. And in the front of the accessories tray is storage for all the different presser feet and accessories that come with the machine. Now they include the standard foot that's already on the machine, a zipper/piping foot, a blind hem foot, one for overcasting and one for over edging, a clear buttonhole foot and your one-step buttonhole. There's a range of accessories. It also comes with the power lead, foot control, an instruction manual and an instructional DVD. There's also a hard cover included. Now this machine weighs 6.5 kilos, so it's nice and portable, and this will help keep it protected when you're out and about or if you're storing it away. So let's get sewing. Threading the machine is very straightforward. Just pop your spool on and the cap on the end, and then you're following the numbers. So number 1, 2, 3, 4 in the take-up lever, 5, and then in behind the needle guide. Bring the needle threader down, draw the thread along, push it back up, and then you have your loop at the back. And that's the needle threaded. For the bobbin, pop open the cover. You want the tail of thread to the left. Drop that in under this little lip, in and around the quick set. And as I say, no need to draw up the bobbin thread, you can just start sewing. So when you switch the machine on, it'll always default to stitch number 1, which is the standard straight stitch. So you've got all these frequently used stitches here, and as I say, you've got these 2 cards for your extra stitches. Now I'm not using the foot pedal, I'm going to use the start-stop button, and I'll show you the different speeds and how you can control them first. So we'll stay on the straight stitch, so I'm just going to press the start-stop button. And for reverse, I just keep my finger on the button for as far back as you want to go, and then it will come forward again. So the slow speed is quite slow and manageable. Midway, and then up to top speed. And if you keep your finger on the button when you're nearing the end, it will slow right down for you to stop, and then you can do your reverse to secure it. Now the top speed on this machine was 820 stitches per minute. And to cut the threads, you press the thread cutter button, and it automatically lifts the needle, cut the thread, and you can take the work out. And there's your nice neat straight stitch. That's the top and that's the bottom. So to move on to a different type of stitch, let's take a look at the zigzag. So zigzag is number 7. So I just simply press the button and it's switched over to stitch number 7 and defaulted a standard stitch width and a stitch length. You can change them by just going up and down on these buttons here. Now obviously when you're changing the stitch in the length, you can do that on these satin stitches, but sometimes you can end up distorting the size and the shape of the pattern. So that's where this button, it's called an elongation, comes into an effect. So when you're using these stitches, you can elongate them to 5 times their original size, but you're still keeping the shape and the density of the stitch. And this one here, if you want to, you can program it to automatically cut the thread every time you stop sewing. But let's take a look at the zigzag stitch. Look how nice and uniform that is. That's the top and then it's exactly the same on the bottom. So there's a few decorative stitch options on this machine. On this one here you can see these florally designs. So we'll stitch one of those out and I'll show you the function of the locking stitch button, which can also be used on a straight stitch. But let's select the stitch first. So let's go for number 72. I find it easier to go straight to number 20 and then you can scroll up from there. Keep my finger on it. 72. That was just fortunate it landed there. So this locking stitch feature has 2 different functions. First off, it does a locking stitch. Now that is to secure your stitches instead of using the reverse. It just sews 3 stitches on the spot. It's also a pattern end. So when you're sewing one of the decorative stitches, when you're nearing the end, you can press this one and it will finish a whole pattern before it stops sewing. So let me show you that. So you can see I pressed the button there and it carried on sewing, and that's so that it finishes the complete design. And you can see you're not left halfway through, it's fully finished. And that's the underneath. Let's take a look at the one-step buttonhole. There's 3 different styles to choose from on this machine, depending on the type of fabric you're using. I'm using cotton, so I'm just going to go for a standard buttonhole. And you'll see it's telling me to use foot R, which is the buttonhole foot, which I've got on there. And this little symbol here is to bring the sensor down, which is in behind here. And then the machine knows when to stop sewing and do your bar tacks at the back and come forward for the size of your buttonhole. So I'm just going to pop my fabric underneath, drop the presser foot, and off we go. Cut the thread, and there you have it, your buttonhole. It's as easy as that. Moving on to a different type of fabric, I've got some stretch jersey here. I've popped a jersey needle on the machine, and I know, having sewn this fabric before, that the correct stitch for this is the triple straight stitch. I'm just going to pop that back in because I don't need it anymore. Now, sometimes with different types of fabric, you do need to experiment with the stitches to find the best one for the type of fabric. So this is a triple straight stitch here, and it is a straight stitch, but it does 3 stitches instead of 1, and that gives the fabric stretch with the stitch. And you can see how that's lying nice and flat, there's no waviness, and the fabric will stretch along with the stitch. And the seam is nice and secure. And lastly, we'll look at the thicker side of fabric. So I have some denim here. So I've popped a jeans needle on the machine. There's no stretch to it, so I'm going to go back to a standard straight stitch. But because it's thicker, I'm going to increase the length slightly. And it's sewn through that, no problem at all, no skip stitches, top or bottom. So let's double that over. So now we'll go through 4 layers. And again, let's cope with that really well. And the stitch is nice and secure. So let's double it over again. So we'll go through 8 layers now. This time I'm going to take the speed down slightly just to help it along. Use the extra lift to get it underneath. And there you go. You can hear it's working harder, but that's an awful lot of layers for this machine to go through. But nevertheless, it's gone through it really well. That's the stitch there on the other side. And again, it's still nice and secure. I hope you now feel more informed regarding the features, functions and capabilities of the Janome 780 DC. It's a great all-round machine for every type of sewist. It also comes with a 2-year warranty that can be extended, and there's a card in the box that talks you through all of that. Delivery is also free and it's fast, so you could be sewing on this machine within a couple of days. And don't forget, we're here at the Sewing Studio for any help or advice you may need. We're sewers ourselves and we pride ourselves in knowing all our machines inside out. So just get in touch via email, live chat or pick up the phone. Thanks very much for watching.